cool, got no need. She got me buying her them Fendi shoes. All we do is shop until we drop. All we do is shop until we drop. Right there in the floor. Y'all know me, 'cause all I do is ride around and get me cool. Got no need. She got me buying her them Fendi shoes. All we do is shop until we drop. All we do is shop until we drop. Right there in the floor. Y'all know me, 'cause all I do is ride around and get me cool. Got no need. She got me buying her them Fendi shoes. All we do is shop until we drop. All we do is shop until we drop. Right there in the floor. Y'all know me, 'cause all I do is ride around and get me cool. Got no need. She got me buying her them Fendi shoes. All we do is shop until we drop. All we do is shop until we drop. Right there in the floor. Y'all know me, 'cause all I do is ride around and get me cool. Got no need. She got me buying her them Fendi shoes. All we do is shop until we drop. All we do is shop until we drop. Right there in the floor. Y'all know me, 'cause all I do is ride around and get me cool. Got no need. She got me buying her them Fendi shoes. All we do is shop.
Do we shop until we drop? All we do is shop until we drop. Good morning, folks. What's happening? Welcome back. Welcome back. What we got up in here? Man. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We are back in the building once again. Iron Man, Braveheart, Drift, Geeko, Positive Insights, F-Dub. Welcome back, folks. We are back here on this Wednesday prior to Turkey Day out here. Alright, that's what it is. Welcome back, everybody. Hope everybody had a decent evening. Not really much happening now in terms of the charts, but man, we're stopping in to see what's looking like overall, say what's up. Peace to everybody here once again. Always appreciate you guys stopping in. Like button, subscribe buttons. You guys are new. Pretty much everybody that's up in here is pretty consistent. So I'm happy to see everybody once again as usual. You guys could be anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me. I totally appreciate you. All right. So it's got a little bit of tunes. This was in my mind right here. I don't know. I had this feeling. I felt like playing this right here because yesterday was absolutely wild. Congratulations again to everybody that caught those plays and caught that little run up there, the little minor run up we had on GME. Nothing major, just a little something like 8% day. Nothing big. Appreciate everybody. Again, congratulations on all plays taken. All right, but it looks like things are calming down a little bit going into the holiday little break that we have tomorrow. So a lot of profit taking based upon some moves that were made. So hopefully you're on that side of things to put a little bit aside. You know, a little bit in the bag, a little bit in the purse. You know how that goes. So hope everybody's doing well. Yes, sir. Shop until we drop. Got a little something because we're about to start shopping probably for, was it Friday? People about to start doing the shopping thing, the holiday rush. All right, that's what's going to be happening. What's going on, John, by the way? Welcome back. Well, welcome back. Holiday rush begins. We are now in the season of emotion, commotion, and just frivolous spending. So do watch out. You know, do watch your your GME fuel units and all that kind of stuff is necessary in order to continue the path that we are on. All right. But Thanksgiving Eve it is. That is correct. All right. But so far, I mean, hey, we had some moves that happened today on GME a little bit on AMC as well. All right. AMC is gonna have some struggles. Obviously, we know $5 is a major location. GME is hitting, you know, just levels it should hit. We mentioned the other day 31.42 would be the level that takes off, which it did the other day. We just have a little bit of struggle, but again, it's gonna be a lower volume day. I actually didn't expect it to get up this high as it did going into this morning. I actually expected it to come down, which has been the theme with GME, coming down to at least somewhere around the $30.31 level. $30.13 level, just to come back and really back test that $30 range, right? Which is standard, which would make sense. But as we know, GME doesn't like to really follow anybody's lead. So in terms of that, it just lately has been looking phenomenally bullish right now. So it's been taking these little brief breaks and then coming back down, and very brief, and then from there it just squeezes back up higher and higher and higher. So we're going to continue to watch it as we have been doing since way back. All right, you know, congratulations again for everybody that caught this run and this ride. It has been an honor to be here, serving and doing my part to continue this movement as best as we possibly can, guys. And hopefully it has been fruitful for you, and so on and so forth, guys. All right, B Dreams, B4 Dreams, appreciate you. First time seeing your name, so welcome to the stream. Hopefully we can continue to have you going forward. All right. Once again, hit the like, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. We'd love to continue to have you here and see you going into the as we take this ride into the stratosphere, folks. All right, so I just wanted to point something out with GME. So since we're all, well, a good amount of people, folks are here. Not everybody yet, but typically we're around the 50 folks at a time average at this point. So we have grown as a family out here, which is good stuff. But we did have a little bit of a change here on Manny. What's going on? Good morning. Good morning. All right, thanks for coming back here as usual, my friend. All right, Oaks Way, welcome back, my guy. Appreciate you again. All right, so since we were talking about GME and AMC is gonna be again still running into that wall. It's just like pressed up against this creek line at 498, 502. Those are going to be really tough to break. We're making a slightly higher, lower high for the time being. We'll discuss that in a little while. Slightly lower high, but it's you're up against a wall, man. This is going to be really tough to break. When it does break, though, forget about it. It's over. But let's take a look at GME. GME, I found out yesterday that they moved the earnings call from the 4th to the 10th. So which gives us a little bit of an extra running room in terms of getting up to the levels that we want to see. All right, hopefully we potentially took a little bit of profit at that $32 level just to kind of reposition yourself in the interim. Nothing wrong with, you know, holding through it. It's perfectly fine. But, you know, it did present us an opportunity yesterday, being that we knew 32 was going to be an area that was going to be a brick wall. All right, Craig, what's happening, man? Happy hump day and happy TG Eve. All right. All right, let's see what we got going here. Other than that, man, this is I did want to point this out. So they did move the earnings date at this point now to the 10th. Again, I'm watching for GME to come down to about $30.18 or so. And just wanted to point this out. I'll probably be making a video on this going into earnings, probably within the next couple of days, over the weekend most likely. Let's see here, 1 second. All right. So, I have marked it the Soul Snatch Zone. All right. The Soul Snatch Zone. Now I'm saying we're going to go to there. I had it actually set up to start to make that Soul Snatch situation by December 4th. Which was going to be the earnings date. We have now been moved to the 10th, which actually aligns us even better for that move, up to about $35. I have this range. I'm just gonna make this very clear. A range here between $35.97. Again, these are very, very specific levels. You guys know how I get down here. I try to be as specific as possible. My targets are as specific as possible, and I pride myself on being very accurate in a lot of the moves that I make and the analysis that I try to do. And I try to do whatever I can to kill whatever thesis I come up with in order to get better, that 1% better every day, so I can be better for you folks that are watching. And hopefully it helps out in one way, shape, or form. So now, in terms of the soul snatch zone, this gives us a little bit of runway to get to that 35.97 and 37.75 target, which is the main one, the 37.75 target. Again, we mentioned in the past that we have this pattern that's been forming out for quite a while now, which is the Adam and Eve here on the larger move, right? It's not broken down as of yet, but 37.75 is where you're most likely going to head, and it'll probably happen within the next week leading into earnings and probably up into earnings, in my opinion. But that's going to be the spot. It doesn't have to happen, but based on what I'm seeing here, that's probably what is going to happen. You'll get a move up to touch anywhere between 35.97, so let's say 36 bucks, to roughly 37.75. And you'll get that move up. You'll continue to go, continuing this broadening wedge pattern that I think we've mentioned this in the past. This broadening wedge pattern that we've been building all the way up into here. Let me turn this red so it's at least pretty clear. All right, all the way up right into this range. Let me fix this a little better, make this look nice and clean. All right, so you get a continuation pattern and come down, maybe you get about 30 bucks flat. You'll probably push up a little bit, come back here about 34 bucks. And by the time earnings comes up, they're going to slam this thing down by 20%. I expect it to be slammed down by 20%, at least. And my target to that 20% down could be somewhere around $29.80 before reaccumulating. And then from there, we run to like 70, 60, 70 bucks. All right, this is what I would expect to possibly happen going into the situation here on earnings. All right, so just be mindful of that. That's going to scare some people, but I did want to point it out because it lines up quite perfectly with earnings, which is now December 10th. If it was December 4th, we would not have had enough time, in my opinion, for them to bring it up high enough in order for this move to happen. But now that they moved it strategically, in my opinion, by about 6 days, there's something coming. I don't know what it's going to be when we get there, but in my opinion, there's something coming where they'll slam this thing by 20%. That doesn't have to happen, but again, I just want to have you prepare yourself if it does occur, and then again, be conscious of it if it does happen, that we did at least talk about it here. Again, doesn't have to. They can completely fake this out and then just run 100% in after hours. But again, just prepare yourself. Earnings has been the move where they like to do this type of nonsense to folks and get them, get them shaken out. But that would be, in my opinion, they fake out, shake out, and then from there you will rocket to 60 bucks. Come back then from that point, come back to retest somewhere around the $40, $47 range, and then just continue to run up to about $100, $107, and then so on and so on and so on. That would be probably the move. Ultimately, this thing is still, regardless of anything it looks like, it is entirely beyond bullish, beyond bullish, beyond bullish. All right, so I just want to make that clear. So just prepare yourself. Just put yourself in the right mindset. Psych yourself up. Do some affirmations in the mirror before you come out that day of earnings. Push-ups, sit-ups, whatever you do, jumping jacks. Just prepare for that day. All right, to not be in a position where you get faked out or shaked out or scared out of your position. All right, just want to make that very clear. But once again, guys, I appreciate you all stopping in. We're gonna watch that fake out zone or that soul snatch zone at minus 25% potential day at that time, and we'll continue to stay in contact on that just in case. But again, always appreciate you all stopping in, hanging out. You guys could be anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be here with me. I totally appreciate all of you. All right. Lewis is going on. Stevie Steve, welcome back, folks. Who else came in? I think we got everybody pretty much up in here once again. But yeah, this is looking incredible. Cannot see it any other way. Cannot see this any other way. It is a fantastic looking chart. So we did have some information come out today on the market. Some PCE stuff, right? Dropped this back down a little bit. We did just get about a very close move to about the 602 mark that I mentioned yesterday at closing yesterday on the SPY. So we got about, what, 601.30 or something like that. So it would have been a great play from the time we called it out. We were sitting at about 5.99. A $2 move, almost $3 move was possible, which would have been a nice return on investment if you would have picked up some calls. However, you know, we are now reversing the situation. Right? It played out to a point, and now we're starting to come down again. Lower volume at this point on, you know, the time of year, the day off tomorrow, some profit taking. Some people made decent money on this pushback upwards. So, you know, it's perfectly normal. We're going to day off tomorrow. We also have a short day on Friday. So people can go out there and spend the gains that they've worked on all week and and so on and so forth. Welcome to the U.S. economy. All right, make money all week on these calls, run the market up, and hopefully you take your gains and apply it to the next thing, which is now going to be consumerism in the best, all right, in the highest and best use. So here we are now. So we're coming back down. Obviously, we broke this rising wedge that was forming out. Coming back down, possibly. Can we get low as about 596? It's very possible, but I don't expect it to happen now. We're probably sideways trades out of this thing back to 600 bucks. I don't think it's a dead play at all. I do think we still have much more to go on the SPY, but this is, at the moment, you cannot deny this is basically a triple top at this point. All right, once, short term, twice, 3 times, tested 600 bucks. So can you come back once again to try to reaccumulate? You could. Come back lower, roughly about 597, try to reaccumulate, catch this bottom trend line, and then start making your way back upwards. That would make sense to me. Just again, looking at this particular pattern that you're trying to build out. So again, playing this bottom trend line, this white line has been it's a little bit of a sticky area. Most likely to start to hit back again toward the 1618 over time. But first and foremost, you're going to have to break that 602, 604 area. Probably going into the Christmas rally that we'll probably see starting in about a week or two. So yeah, or the Santa rally. I keep calling it the Christmas rally, but the Santa rally. It makes sense. All right. We talked about XRT in the past as well. XRT is the retail sector ETF. All right, so it's XRT, something to pay attention to, which also includes GameStop. All right, GameStop or GME is part of this retail sector. It is the retail ETF, and it has, since we've discussed it last, I don't know if anybody remembers, if you guys were here, it was around 79 bucks, I believe, and it is now officially broken this area, or broken out of this area, and you now are in a situation where you are hitting the golden pocket. Roughly about $83.74 was the target. It hit 83.95, which is basically the 0.65, the top of the golden pocket on this setup. So all of this happened with GME breaking out and hitting 32 bucks. All of that happened yesterday along with this breakout in this range. All right, this is a breakout of this range, and remove this. You know, I get a little happy with these brush tools, right? So let's clean that up a little bit. But this breakout setup here, you also can mark off this as a wedge that was created, and we'll clean that up. So definitely want to continue to add to your watch list, just again to get an idea of what the sector is doing. Companies such as a Target, we mentioned that as well, is built into this. So they're all set up in this situation to squeeze. All right, so anything that's related to retail, sales, stores, brick and mortar, online, all right? Amazon is going nuts, right? You've seen that. Amazon is what's in that, what, 210 right now, last time I checked. So everything is looking good in terms of that. So this breakout happened. You obviously got to break out, push back up, push back down, retest, and then from there it was on. You know, there's possibility if you start breaking above $84, you're looking to go up towards that $86 range, which is 707, if you can hold above the 0.65. So right now it probably may come back down to about 82, but ultimately you're going to probably go into that 707 one more time. So this is the retail sector. So anything that's related to shopping, Christmas rally, anything on that terms. Also, you want to pay attention to the financial sector, XLF. All right, that's another one. People are using debt. They're using debt to go buy some more, buy gifts and stuff like that. That's another thing. Right, so pay attention to these types of stocks, because they're going to probably be the ones making moves over the next little bit. So the financial sector is big as well. All right, but there's your XLF setup. There's what's also attached to GME, Target, Etsy. Etsy's been going nuts. Anything that's has retail sales attached to it, Amazon, definitely keep an eye on it at this particular point in time. I mean, Amazon came down a little bit now, but I think it had 210 yesterday. So that's that. Affirm, watch Affirm, another one in that same sector, and so on. So that's what we're looking like, guys. So do pay attention to that. Positive Insights, DKNG looking still good for Super Bowl. I think it's looking fine. I don't think it actually has even started yet, in my opinion. Let me go and take a look at it. I haven't looked at it in about a day or two, but let's see what's doing now. All right, once again, appreciate everybody stopping in. Make sure you guys hit a like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Would love to continue having you here. All right, let's see here. And mine is a YOLO. I know you were in at 40 Positive Insights, so you're probably looking nice. But I mean, it's still got its way to go. I mean, it's 43.78 was a target that I have here. Right, it's still here. It hasn't moved. It's obviously had some trickles around in this area, but we'll zoom in a little bit for you. This is a 4-hour chart. You still have a lot of opportunity, in my opinion, on this thing. All right, you still are making higher lows. Oops, let me fix that. You're still making higher lows off this retest on this channel. All right, here's your next target, 47.75. So things are still looking good within this channel. Again, you're watching this channel that's taken from first off the break of the descending broadening wedge. All right, this descending broadening wedge here, which is forming your cup off of the larger cup and handle we pointed out way back when. I still got the smiley face up here for when we actually get there. All right, he's not going nowhere till we arrive. So I believe him there. I got the X and all of that. All right, so this is a swing trade, right? A swing trade situation. So again, we are forming the cup, a large cup. This is the handle portion of the of this whole setup. We've also mentioned in the past with the descending broadening wedge, you have a target that gets set up, which again is going to be the top side that you take the wedge from, and also the underside resistance, which you can set your target. So I think we talked about that actually. I think we talked about it a couple days ago if you were here. I think you were here. But underside, and then you could set your X. Your first target would be somewhere around here, which is going to be 47.75, roughly about. Second target, 52. And then we just keep going until we get to up in this range, about 63 bucks. Now, if you're at 40, if you're getting a little, unsure, take some profits, reposition, or take some profits, and then you can move on to GME, because I think GME is going to like $100 really soon. So, I mean, again, you're going to be just fine, in my opinion. But again, you got in the monies. I think you were sitting at $40. I think you got in at 40, so I think you'll be just fine, man. But I'm watching this thing to get to at least the $50 range. I've taken a little bit off the top, but it was a YOLO. While it pushes up, it goes green. You get a little bit of a surge in the IV. I take the pump, and I may reposition, put it into other plays or whatever the case is. But if I run out of steam, then I run out of steam. But ultimately, in my opinion, by the time you get to Super Bowl, this will be in the 50s, probably 60. And Super Bowl is still about what? We still got, 3 months to go? If that, maybe it's about 2 months to go. So the closer we get to it, the more likely it's going to go up. And it also depends on the teams too, right? So whatever teams get there, hey, let's go. All right, so it's looking good. It's looking good. All right, so but ultimately the cup and handle is not broken down. This is a great looking play, not for just now, for a long-term hold, in my opinion. And as this gets more and more acceptance, right? As this more, the idea for sports trading, or it's not sports trading, but sports betting becomes more and more accepted in different locations. I don't know if it's everywhere yet, is it? I know it took a while for it to get to New York. But yeah, once it's all said and done, you're gonna go up here. It's gonna happen. So real no worries there. All right. Cool, man. Cool. So let's go back to AMC real quick. I just want to double check to see if there's any moves being made on AMC at this point in time. Still kind of sitting down at 489, and nothing really changed with AMC besides the fact that we're up against that major resistance, major resistance at $5. But once you flip 5, it will do just like GME did. GME ran like $2. I'm not saying you earned $2, but the percentage wise, right? I mean, that $2 for AMC would be wild. That'd be like a 50% move in one shot. It can happen, but it wouldn't happen down here. But as far as a 10% move, 12% move, 15% move would make sense, which will equate to something like a 20%, 20-cent change or something like that on AMC, which is like between $5 and I don't know, $5.40, $5.35, somewhere around there. So that would actually be a decent move for in AMC's case, because it's a much cheaper price, much cheaper stock. Right, so that's what we're looking at as far as that's concerned. Other than that, man, things are just kind of going to be moving pretty slow. Nothing really major happening. Nothing really major happening outside of that. So just kind of watch things, keep your eyes peeled, manage positions, take some profits, and enjoy. All right, it's just some of the money that you actually make is not just paper money. It actually is real money. You can actually take it out and go do things with it. Sometimes you can almost look at this thing like a damn video game at times. Like it's not gonna do, like you can't really use it. No, it's real. You can pull it out, all right, and actually do something with it. So always good to at least take a little something to remind yourself that it's actually usable. You can do things with it. All right. So let's see. Yeah. Other than that, what else we got going on? Yeah. Outside of this, in terms of any plays that are going on, things are just kind of melting down today. Nothing really crazy going on, but Target is still moving upwards, kind of recovering here. I'll expect Target to soon be back at 135 really soon. Yeah, it's gonna happen. You'll recover this whole thing, and you'll spring out of this thing going into Christmas. No worries there on Target. All right. What else we got going on here, folks? Oh, let me make sure I post this up. Hopefully everybody's going to have a decent, or is expecting a decent holiday or day off. Hopefully some decent things are coming up, but you can use the day wisely. Enjoy that time with those folks. We always like to say, the ones that you care most about. All right. Put that to good use, man. Let's see here. So I'm going to map out Target again. Make sure of what I'm seeing. So I'm going to have to call this a supporting uptrend on Target. All right, a supporting uptrend. So it's got 3 touch points. Is it 3 touch points? Yeah, 3 touch points. 1, 2, 3. So there you go. That 3 touch points right there. So it's actually a full-fledged now, a full-fledged support line. I'll mark it a little bit lighter, make this a little bit darker, because that is your previous, more substantial one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, GME 429. Waiting for 29 GME. Any chance? It's possible for GME. I mean, I expect it to go to about $30.13 on GME. It's possible that it'll come down though, sweep the 29.80. Very possible, but again, GME is just too bullish. All right? It's way too bullish. I pointed this out to the Discord folks, but we'll talk about it here a little bit. GME, bro. I mean, GME is absolutely nuts. I mean, I'll show you something real quick. The Discord guys know about this, but we'll talk about it real quick in terms of the platinum strategy, which is what I use. I've developed over a long time here. And basically, I use the platinum crosses. I mentioned in the past, I use the platinum strategy in general. I just want to show you something based upon just the moving averages and the creek lines, like I always mention. Since we're here and since we're talking about GME. Hey, Paul, man, appreciate you, my friend. Definitely. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving once again. All right, my man. Take some of those gains, man. Have it and enjoy. Make it real. Even Paul's been out here killing it, man. I'll tell you. Hey, sorry, what's happening, man? Got gaps to fill. Yeah, a couple small ones on GME. Nothing crazy, but it leaves very little gaps, very few, which is more reason for me to be more bullish on this thing, because it's like it doesn't really have anything really major to go back and fill. Right? It just everything gets bought up. Every dip gets bought. Everything just gets bought. Everything is like saying, hey, this is going to continue to go up. And somebody has to really be like absolutely like, crazy to try to short this thing into the ground. It's just, I mean, you got to just give up and get on board at this point. Even if you were bearish, even if you didn't care about the stock, But we were talking about this also in the Discord, like, man, once you start hearing people at the just be careful when you start hearing people at the cash register or whatever start talking about it, or you hop in a cab and the driver is talking about, GME about to do this, or you just like just random people start talking about it. That's probably when you're gonna start wanting to be a little bit more cautious. Just saying. But right now we're obviously in early because we do this every single day. But yeah, but for now, I mean, it's showing some strength. So I do want to point this out. Hey Andy, good morning. Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving, folks. As we head into it, let me go into this real quick. Let me hide the drawings. And I'll add back the 1 second. All right, boom. So, very interesting thing that's happened or happening. Oh boy, I keep doing that. Fix that. 1 second, folks. Very interesting thing that I like to see. This is very interesting. So, I want you to notice something. Platinum strategies, again, what I use. That's something I've developed over time. And just notice the creek line, the yellow line. I'm always talking about the creek. And this yellow line. I mentioned in the last video a particular moving average I like to use. That's not really that popular, right? But I use it, and I find a lot of success with it. All right, notice the creek here. Notice the 200 moving average, and notice the 300. All right, now you check this out. Just remember that lighter yellow line, the thicker yellow line, and then notice the red line over the gray line. That's all we need to really talk about. Notice how close they are together at this point. All right, and notice how things have ramped up since this cross between the red and the gray. All right, you're waiting for this to cross up, and watch when they cross up. This bundle of nerves you got here. The last time that bundle of nerves actually crossed upwards, I mean, everybody already knows it. Probably, I'm not, nothing to really be scared about, or be excited about, or maybe it is something to be excited about. However, just notice that red line over the gray line. All right, right here. That's all we need to talk about. Red line over the gray line already occurred, right? This is back in January 2021. All right. Waiting for the this is wild. Waiting for the yellow line to cross over the creek. All right, the darker, thicker yellow line. But then the last one, which is going to happen probably within a month, is the creek crossing over the gray line. Once that, actually probably even sooner than that. We probably got about a month before this thing goes absolutely haywire. Yeah, we're basically within this range right here. Within this range between January 12th, and roughly between there and about January 12th. We're in that range. If this is going to follow what happened in the past, we're just kind of expecting this bigger candle to start. This one right here. All right. When this is probably going to be this move up. All right. So I just want to point it out. I'm not saying that I'm not the biggest advocate of fractals, but if we're going to repeat the process, we're going to repeat the process. Let's go. But we're looking for this right here. This like quick move up. I mean, it probably can happen very soon. I mean, we already started this. This is the 1 day time frame, but this is probably going to happen very soon. A move up and then a move back down. But I probably expect it to happen after earnings. All right, it'd probably be somewhere in this range. This is roughly about January 8th to about January 11th, somewhere around there. And then from there, we get the move back down and then push right back up, right, to like $60. This is kind of what I mentioned earlier when we first started the stream. That would be insanity. But again, just want to prepare you what can happen. If we get to that soul snatch zone, which is roughly about between $36 and $37, 35.97 and 37.75, I would expect them to push it down, just like they did here. All right, push it up, push it down, push it up one more time, push it down, and then you just rock it off, which would get the cross up of the creek above the 200, and then from there, game time. I mean, this thing is destined to go to the all-time highs. If anybody doesn't think it's going to the all-time highs, I don't know what they're looking at. But just prepare yourselves accordingly. I just wanted to point that out. Again, we're very close to that same bundle of nerves that crossed above each other or over each other. Way back when in pre-January squeeze, and we were like about to do the same thing again. So it's just something to be very conscious of. At least be paying attention to, everything, because I don't know how you can look at this and say, it's gonna drop or come down. It's almost impossible at this point, unless they, like I mentioned this in the past, maybe about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago even. I said the only way to stop this from moving up to going to all-time highs, you literally have to walk in to the GME headquarters and blow it up. You would have to blow up the damn building in order for this to not happen. So that's where I'm at with it. So when I say I'm like, I would throw everything I got into this damn thing, I really believe. I'm not going to do it because it's not wise. However, I can't see how somebody could say that this is not going to go up. We'll see. We will see. So I just wanted to point that out, folks. Again, that bundle of nerves is going to cross up. When it does, watch out. GME is going to go to at very least, its previous all-time highs. And also, you got to keep in mind, there's people that have been in here before this. This was split. This is a four-way split, right? You got to understand, GME is still at $120 as we speak. This is actually $120. There's people that have bought this thing in the penny range down here, and they've never felt pain the entire way down. All right, and they're not going to, because guess what? It's going to go even higher than where they started. So congratulations if you're one of those guys and been holding it since down here, all right, since the original DFV days, because you've been sitting pretty this whole time, all right? And especially if you had the ability to hold on. So yeah, this is still a $120 stock right now. It just looks like it's $31. So just something to keep in mind. So shout out to everybody on GME, man. This is about to get absolutely wild over the next couple of weeks. Yeah. So that's what we're talking about in terms of GME. But Bill, what's happening, Bill? So AMC is unlikely to go to all-time high. That's not the case. Not the case on AMC. AMC will go, but they'll be different. They are, in my opinion, two peas in a pod, just two different types of peas. I've used that analogy before. AMC wise, let's go back to AMC. AMC does not have the same setup. AMC has a totally different setup. However, it's got a lot more in the way. It's been dragged out. It never really got the entire. It actually started off way too late. All right, I guess they figured out a way to stop AMC before it got too out of hand. Back up here, or you could talk about management, whatever you want to do at the time. Then you did 8. That completely killed everything. That was it. So everything had been reset. But just notice again this sloping of everything. All right. I want to point out the same setup, the platinum strategy here. All right. How AMC did its thing. They don't even have to even cross. All they have to do is get close to each other, and then this thing erupts. All right. So now this same bundle of nerves. Look how close they were together back in January. This, I believe, was still set off by GME, right? Initially, it was set off by GME. It had a great positioning, but GME set this off. So whatever's happening between AMC and GME, that's just why they moved together. But this happened. It was way too soon for AMC to do something, but it did, right? Based upon what was happening with the companies or the short side or whoever was shorting these companies simultaneously, just letting off the brakes, right? And it just erupted because this, from a mathematical or from a average standpoint, this shouldn't have happened on AMC. But it did. And then when it did, it just continued to hold that area because somebody lost control elsewhere, probably on GME. So AMC just kind of held on the entire way. But that same bundle of nerves we just pointed out on GME's case, you see when they crossed over, the 200 crossed over the creek line. All right, this red crosses over the creek. That's when you got January. Right? This is when January happened. January crossed over, and it was gone. I mean, excuse me, the creek, the 200 EMA crossed above the creek, and then from there it was over. All right, that's when you got this bigger move. So GME is on like the cusp of doing this like very soon. Again, it did it before. It's about to do it again, and that was the 500% move that AMC got at that point in time. So going to what we have at the current moment, based upon this strategy that I use, right? You don't have that. All right, look how far apart all of this is. Now, over time, this will start to correct itself. It will take, this is why I mentioned in the past, this will take probably about a year or two for this to correct itself, as long as we continue to hold this higher low, which we have created. My only issue is right now $11, and I talked about this as well. $11 does not break and you don't get above that level and get back into the playing field. That's where the issues happen, right? Which is going to be major resistances. Let's see here. If you don't get back inside the playing field, which is going to be the inbounds area, right? This is the inbounds area. So we're out of bounds right now. We're on the green side, out of bounds, in my opinion. Once you get into the inbound section, this is the field, right? The field, the 50-yard line, and the other side, and then you're on the opposite end, right? Eventually, you'll get back up here, in my opinion, but it will take a while to do it. So the inside, let's see the trajectory, long-term trajectory, 1 second, right here. This will take a while to rebuild and start to curl all of these over again, right? As time goes on, all of this will start to do this, right? They'll start to round out. This will come meet it downwards and eventually start to cross as well. And then from there, you'll get back to the other side of the field. It just will take a while to do it. Just don't expect it to happen the way GME will happen. But can you have it prematurely like it did back here, right? It happened prematurely back here. If GME does what I think it will do, it's possible where this will just loop through the same way GME did when GME squeezed. AMC did it way prematurely. It wasn't based upon the chart. It wasn't supposed to do it. But that's why they slammed it back down. Like, look how far apart everything is back here. It ran up and came right back down. Can that happen again with AMC? It can. But we need to clear some levels first. There's a lot more in the way with AMC than there was with there is nothing in the way in GME's case. GME is prepped to go, man. But hopefully if it happens sooner, I have to just look at the charts for now. But if it happens sooner, we can start to push through. All we need to do is get above like 16, 17 bucks, this creep line. If we can do that, it will slam up and we'll have a real January move. I'm not expecting that, but it can happen, right? I have to use the charts that's in front of me here. And based upon the way the charts look, this would ultimately, eventually, gradually curl up. Can you get pops in the meantime? Of course. You can get pops up to certain levels, which you probably will, kind of like you did back in May, right? GME caused this move again because, in my opinion, AMC was supposed to come down to like 190. Never did. So it's possible for it to just get a pop up. But will the pop? The question is, will the pop hold? And I mentioned that as well. So AMC is in a different situation, right? A totally different situation. But again, it's happened in the past before where it ran through. It could happen again. So we kind of gotta wait and see. But the GME is very clearly the leader of this entire meme sector, or whatever is happening in the background in terms of where money was going on these stocks. It's very clear that GME is the one that is the problem child right here. All right, so that's what we're watching for. But ultimately, just want to compare the situation here. But AMC over time, holding this higher low, in my opinion, will turn around and eventually, in time, head toward the all-time highs, or at least 80 bucks, which is again the other side of the field. All right. Yes, it's definitely the same but different, bro. Definitely the same, Craig. Like in that movie, The Interview with James Franco. Yeah, that was a good movie. I watched that a couple of times. It makes you laugh. Though they moved together, GME led the way in 2023. AMC led the way in June. Absolutely. That's also the case. So like it did lead the way to start everything off. From a chart perspective, Maze, welcome back, my man. Good to have you here. It did start off everything with AMC. All right, everything, that's what started it. Now, once you got up there and when they pulled the buy button, all right, which is a very significant spot. All right, it held support up there. It became a support now. So let me just remove a couple things real quick. So we go back here, we'll take off the trajectory, we'll take off the inbounds, and we'll take off the short-term levels. All right, cool. Now, if we go into what happened with the buy button removal, right? It all came down, shot up, and these are way far apart, but it still pushed through. All right, it still pushed through. However, once they pulled the buy button, you basically came back and held support, and it was a buy to dip situation. Your support now would have been based upon what happened back here. A couple of other areas where things were actually showing strength. Once, twice, 3 times tested, 4 times tested. So it made sense for it to hold support there. But now you had increased interest in the stock. This would have shown, this volume now would have been the reason that people were interested. This volume says, hey, the same way it's doing now, right, based on the main move. Volume would have said, hey, there's some weakness here. Like when you see big pops in volume like this should instantly tell you there's blood in the water, in a good way, especially if you're going to go long or something, right? Anytime you see major volume stuff popping in, you want to take at least some attention or pay attention to the stock. You have a move like this, a lot of the time there's going to be a residual that's going to happen where you get a continuation move at some point where things still continue up. You're going to get a retest and you're going to get a continuation, right? A lot of times it's 5-wave moves. You can count most 5-wave moves. You can kind of count them out. So you get 1, 2. This would have been 3, right? This 3 right here. It would have been the all-time high. A 4 and then a 5 potential, but then they got cut short. So it would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 potential, which got cut short, and then we started the dump. But ultimately, that first one, you're waiting for that retest because there's always going to be another move up. You just don't know when it's going to happen. So from a chart perspective, the first indication is going to be a major move in volume like this. This tells you whatever trend happened was over, right? You heard me use the idea of reverse of end of trend a lot. You probably heard me say that. So this would have been the downtrend was over because this was continuing to fall off ever since day one. Since the beginning of AMC actually being on the market, it just started falling. All right, 1 second here. It just started falling. So the end of the trend was obvious at this point. Things is in, probably if I go back to the volume, probably would see it thinning out, and then at the end of the day, it just spiked. And then from there, it just happened to be in the right place at the right time. They ran it up, and then from there, you got the continuation move that said, hey, this thing has to go to the wave 3. Everyone's waiting for wave 3 the same way we've been waiting for wave 3 ever since the May move that just happened. Wave 3 is kind of where we're at now, right? Which is, again, if you would have saw this inverted, right, anything like this, a major move down like this says, hey, you're probably going to want to buy puts because this is telling you that this is being considered a sign of weakness. Anytime you see a major push down, it's a sign of weakness telling you whatever you're dealing with is probably going to go even lower. So it's just, again, another way to look at the charts. But in AMC's case, it was strictly volume that gave away that opportunity. And then from there, with the sector moving the way it did, you know, it should have been a just wait and hold and see what happens because that just tells you it's going to go. But when it did go, it started holding support up here, started thinning. And then from there, all you got to do is wait for the second wave 3, which again, never had, not even equal, nowhere near equal the same volume we had back here. I remember this volume was like in the 2 billions, all right, 2 billions of trades per day. Here was like in the I think we would hit 1 billion regularly, right? And during this time frame. But it was still dwarfed by what happened in January, right? And it was nowhere near the same price point. So just another way to look at it. And then from there, again, we just had this move back in January, in May. High spike in volume. All right, we want to do comparatively. That was the highest spike in volume ever. Look at the volume in May compared to what happened in 2021. Like, there's no comparison. Look at that. Like, it looks like, I don't even know what to compare this to. This is absolutely wild. So there is a big move coming. It's just been delayed. Like, you can't deny there's a move that's about to happen just off this alone. Now, how high and what's it going to be and who else is involved? That's the question. But from a chart perspective, AMC's got to go up at this point. We're just waiting for the wave 2, the third wave, which is the same thing that happened in in June. We're waiting for that portion to happen. Now, can it be as high up as that? Can we go to $20? Definitely. I think $20 is a very healthy location. $17 is the creek line on the daily up here. Right? You also have a little target opportunity. It's up to $40. Ultimately, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of how high and how fast. The same way we didn't know at the time we would go to $70 back in when I first started buying this thing. Is roughly around February. I think my first shares was like February. It's after I heard about it because I wasn't watching AMC at the time. I got my first shares were bought in February, like February 4th or something like that. A couple days later after the buy button removal. So I was buying in like the $11 range or something like that. I kept on buying more all the way till it got to about $5. I kept buying all the way down, knowing that this is eventually going to happen. And it did, right? But it just was a matter of when it was going to happen. Because, again, I was watching volume back then. So, luckily, it planned out. We ran to 72, and the rest is history. But ultimately, we're just waiting for that to happen again. But look at the volume difference. This is much bigger. When I say much bigger, I mean in terms of the move that could potentially happen. Not necessarily the price point. Right? You may not get to 72 again. Well, in this case, 415, not right away. But the move will be probably significant. All right, so just want to make that very clear. So from here to up there, if we start making moves between $4 and possibly 40, possibly 16, $17, that's a 200 almost 300% move. And if you're going to count that from the bottom, it's obviously much higher. All right, 600%. And if you get to $30, $40, that's 1300%. But if you've been averaging down, you don't have to really worry about getting back up here to 70, 400, $415, $500. You can get up in this range, 300, 17, 18, $20, maybe even $40 if you got, your average down low enough. Maybe if you can get it to about 80, 90, it's possible. But in this range, and if you understand, if you've been playing options or whatever, you're looking to play options, this is why I mentioned options as well. Because that'll allow you to hedge your position in a different way with a little bit of a kick to it. But it's worth at least learning the options game in order to apply this stuff in order to hedge that position, because you can drastically change the situation in your favor if you understand the risk. Obviously, number one. Number two, you apply it to actually trying to make some money off it, so you can lower your average or at least mitigate your overall cost basis. All right. So all I have to say is that there's a move coming. It's a move. It's different than GME, but there is a move coming for the same reasons as what GME is doing now. Looking at this volume again on GME side, I may remove the drawings, just volume only. On GME side, it's a little bit different in terms of volume. Right. The big volume was in January. See that? The difference in volume here? But in May, look at the volume difference. Much smaller than what happened back here. Much smaller. And we got a little bit of move, a little bit of volume coming in now. I mean, that's about it. But it's not going to be the same. GME has a different setup. It's a rising wedge in GME's case. What is this going on? What is this music? Come on now. Hey, what is this? Hold on a second. Let me just change this track. Trying to put me to sleep over here. Got enough of that probably coming up over the next day or two. Let me say, all right, let's let that play. All right, so in this case, it's a whole different setup in terms of the chart. All right, just want to explain. Might as well explain this now since we're here. The chart is not a broadening wedge; it is a rising wedge. So as the price goes up, the volume comes down. So let's remove the indicators and let's remove. Bear me 1 second, folks. Again, I know it's a longer one here. We're just talking about stocks. But I appreciate everybody stopping in. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe while we go through this whole thing. Hopefully, if there's any questions about anything else, definitely we'll go through it in a little bit here. But just want to at least point this out so we can got it. And you can always go back and rewatch it. I think it gets uploaded after we do the streams anyway. So just something for future reference. And maybe I'll make a separate video about it as well. Bear me just a second here, guys. Chart pattern, remove that, remove the fibs for a second, and remove the trend line, leave the trend lines. So bear with me. Triangle, get that out of here. All right, that's probably enough. So from GME's perspective, this is a different chart pattern. All right, they move together, but the pattern is different. GME is repeating this whole setup here, and probably going to continue to go on until it gets to these high numbers, like kind of pointing to the sun, like just going straight up. But as time goes on, the volume gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it eventually breaks down. All right, that's what's going to happen. But it has a target range in 2032 to like $2,000. I mean, it's very possible. It doesn't have to follow that. It can break out and just keep going from here. You know, that's possible. But I don't see that happening. I have to use, again, what's here in front of us. And this says that eventually you'll stop out at a certain point. Which, I have my target roughly about $215 and or so, somewhere like that. But in this case, this is a pattern that you have on GME. AMC is not this pattern. AMC actually is a descending broadening wedge. As time goes on, it gets wider and wider versus getting thinner and thinner at the top. So it's a different type of chart, but it still has the ability to break out. You notice I use that pattern a lot. It's one of my favorite patterns, the descending broadening wedge. But let me just, this is the playing field, this one. All right, it's this guy. So it's the opposite. It's thin up here, but as time goes on, it gets wider and wider and wider. But eventually, once you break this uptrend, this downtrend here, it's gonna kind of just push all the way back up to the other side. So you get this type of deal. Right? It'll do that. Once you break this major, this is why we gotten halted so many times off this line. Halt, halt, halt. They know what's gonna happen if this, and this is a big market cap, right? It has a very big market cap. I think there was a little bit more risk involved if this stock were to do it. And I mean, I guess it's easy as well because it was an easy target for what happened during COVID. But there's a very large market cap on this stock. I mean, if it were to break those numbers and go back to all-time highs, I think at one point, it was one of the most valuable companies in the world, if I remember right. And when we were at $72, I mean, it was like up there with like Tesla and them at the time. I don't know. So I can't call it on why that would happen, but they kept halting this thing. I mean, GME had halts as well, but you know, it halted them at the same time for the same reasons. But man, if this happens, and when it does happen, which I do believe it will take a little while for it to do it. But when it does, you're going to see this thing go all the way back up the other way, and most likely to all-time highs, if not possibly breaking it. But do you want to hold on long enough for that to happen? I think it's worth holding a little bit of, a couple shares here and there. But you know, do whatever you can to at least get the majority of what you can back. But ultimately, this is probably what's going to happen. But again, the volume is going to be based differently in this pattern versus what you have with a GME, which is an ascending wedge, which gets thinner and thinner as you go up. This may get broader, and you'll get bigger volume in bigger areas, expecting this move to eventually happen. So you got a big volume push now, bigger than what happened back here, which is a falling wedge, right? And in this case, you got this widening wedge. So, I don't know. AMC could be a problem in the future, but it's just not going to be as big as GME right now. All right, so just keep that in mind. All right, folks. So, once again, appreciate it. I know that was a longer-winded conversation on the AMC GME setup, but ultimately, AMC will, in my opinion, see all-time highs again. It's going to take a while. But GME will see probably all-time highs probably like in 2 months. So less than that, maybe next month. I don't know, maybe 2. But I have February. I still have a target date range on February 2025, February 25th, 2025. Very specific time frame I have. Doesn't have to play out that way. It could be sooner. But GME is looking great. I can't even. All right, I have. These are my time frames. All right, you guys, maybe you guys have seen that video. That video was put out back when we were like 19, 20 bucks. I mean, we're sitting at $32, and everything has been going according to plan ever since. And these lines have not been moved. I haven't had to touch them. I haven't had to do anything with them. And they just continue to follow suit. PLTR next NVIDIA. What's going on, Drillman? It probably is. I still have PLTR going to about $83 so far. But it's possible. I mean, PLTR is, Palantir is, they've been around for a minute. I remember, having discussions about them back in 2017. All right. But yeah, they're going to go. I mean, they are they could be a powerhouse as far as that whole entire sector is concerned. Let me just take a look at this 1 second. This is my, Levels. Where my stuff at? So I'm gonna add additional stuff here, and then it gets boom. There we go. So here's your top target in this pink zone. I have. Where's my time frame? Expected top on this thing. I have latest date. All right, top expectation, latest date, September 2025. That's the latest. All-time high test earliest, February 24th, 2025. Top target of 205 I have here as June 2025. So that's top target. I mean, that's a little late. Again, it could happen earlier, but based on the way things are moving right now, if I were to draw this out, right, I could just do. I haven't done this yet. Based on this entire setup, all right, it's leaning into this range. I don't even do much. Okay, let's see. It may be slightly off, but let's see. If you start breaking 37.75, you'll get right back into this bull range. I'll tell you that much. But 37.75, another reason, I'm just clearly seeing it now as I'm drawing this as we speak, it would be the underside of this little bit of a range. All right, it would make sense for them to do what I said they would potentially do. Just run it to 37.75, drop it 75% or 25%, excuse me, and then try to run it back into this trend, which will hit somewhere around 70 bucks. All right, it would be a false breakdown. A major false breakdown would give you enough strength to push right back into this channel. So we'll see. I mean, if that actually plays out, but ultimately, that's the trend line I'll be following to get back into this range. All right, in this time frame. So can it happen here? It could. Can it happen sooner? Also could. But I would play it based upon that time frame and wait till, you know, to get to those ranges for real and give yourself some time. But it looks unbelievable to me. I can't see how anybody would sit here and try to short this or go short or try to buy put. Just go long. You can do cash secured puts or whatever and buy it, you know, that way, or but watch out for the covered calls if you really care about the stock. But yeah, ultimately this thing is going up. I mean, I can't see any other way besides up. But that's my time frame. Again, my targets in this case are going to be between 205, this pink box here, 214.08, which I've had that target there since May, and then again roughly about the 250 level. It's possible to break this and continue to go, but I mean, right now that's what I'd say it's going to happen. All right, you have 283. It's possible, yeah, 283, man. It's very possible to get up there. I'm just trying to stay within the confines because I have an additional trend line, which I have a possible trend line because it hasn't touched multiple times. All right, so I've called the macro trend possibilities. All right, you notice how it just popped up, macro trend possibilities? Because in the past, we've actually have touched a couple other touches. Now, I only considered a real touch if you have at least 3 touches. But if it's correct, if they're going to be respected, we can get to much higher than what I just mentioned. 366, it's a very, very notable number. $500, very notable, and then we could probably go to $800. I mean, it can really get up there. But those are notable areas. I'm just not counting them because I don't have enough touch points to really confirm them. So I have to respect what's there versus what I would like to see. But ultimately, it can get up there. Like, it really can get up there. So if we get up there again, I like to be pleasantly surprised versus unpleasantly let down. So I'm gonna set my expectations low, which this is low expectations. I mean, it's not really low expectations, but you can call it low expectations if you want to, just to make yourself feel better about it when it happens. But I mean, from $20 to 200 and some odd, I mean, come on, you cannot beat that. All right. Oh, for PLTR, okay, my bad. Let's look at PLTR real quick. All right, let me go back to PLTR. Did I add that to my list here? I'm rebuilding my list of the popular ones. I didn't add that? Really? All right, let's PLTR. Let's look at PLTR and math it out. All right, PLTR. Boom. AMC still kind of hanging out. So PLTR is the same setup as, well, it's much more developed. Not developed, but it's actually moving more. But it's very similar setup to DraftKings. I forget who asked about DraftKings a little earlier. Very similar setup to DraftKings. So you can really clearly see it. I mean, just by looking at it. You got that little wing on the left hand side, right? That wing. Let me go back to it, but it just never had to go through the major pullback area. So you got this wing on the left hand side, this large cup. I guess you had a little bit of a handle down here potentially, but then it just broke out. All right, it just cup, kind of a handle. They got introduced to the S&P down here about 22 bucks, and then from there you got the breakout. So here it is again, just that setup here, kind of cup, kind of handle, or you could even say it's back here somewhere where you got this kind of a downtrend, sort of a bull flag type deal. Then eventually you broke out and just kept going. So right now, that's ultimately your setup here on PLTR. I don't know why I had this charted out before. I don't know why it's not showing my lines. But once you broke $44, that was it. All right, that was the previous all-time high, and now you just kind of keep going. If I were to do trend-based in this situation, I know I had this charted out before, but anyway, a trend-based you do from the low to the high to the low. All right, $84, and come up here. So I had $83 if I remember correctly. I'm just kind of doing this quickly, but $83 was possible. All right, this is the $84 mark off the 1618 pushing through. So 84 bucks. If you start crossing that, eventually you can get up a little higher to 2.72. All right, you have 248. So you said what, 283? Yeah, we'll get them in the. You'll definitely get up in the twos. I definitely can see that. It's not hard, and that'll take a while to do it. But it'll go up there. It'll definitely go up there. So I mean, if especially if it follows, so far 2024 has been my money printer looking for a big move in Q4, bro. You'll get it. Congratulations, man. Gotta love it, because this stuff is totally necessary, man. It's totally necessary to add to whatever it is you're doing. Even if you can't do it all day long, it's more than necessary to at least have working knowledge of this stuff, whether it's long term, right, short term here and there. Just it's something to add, man. Volume is still looking decent overall. I mean, you still got a little something down here. All right, nothing crazy, but as things pick up, you'll probably continue to move on. Like Palantir is set to mark up. All right, this is the markup phase in general. So I mean, we were just talking about that this morning in Discord. This pretty much is a lot of stocks that look like this. Like they are in markup phase. The entire move down from 2022 that ended, at the end of the beginning of 2024. The average bull market lasts about 5 years. All right, that's we're barely even nowhere near that. So we'll see. But a lot of stocks have done this. 2022, end of 2022, end of 2021, everything just dumped like crazy. And then they just went through this whole phase again. This is the Wyckoff cycle, the accumulation, and then from there you run. Like we'll look at that, I guess, real quick. But almost every stock looks like this right now. All right, some of them are further ahead than others. All right, some are further ahead than others. But I mean, if you can catch them, hey, the next couple of years will be a nice couple of years. I mean, this is the Roaring 20s, right? The new version of the Roaring 20s. We are here now. This is what it is. So just pay attention to the time frames that we're dealing with, all right, in terms of the the world and the repeating cycles of the world. Very good book to at least watch or read if anybody's interested in reading books, which I'm very interested in reading books. You probably guys have figured that out by now. It is The Changing World Order, all right, by, you guys probably know him. He's a very popular, one second here, hedge fund guy. All right. It's worth reading. All right, hold on a second here, remove this. Okay, we're still in the bull market, man. But this is ultimately what you're dealing with. This is your cup and handle. All right, you're gonna do this. You're gonna go up the markup phase. I mean, I have to get a closer version of it, but this is ultimately what you're dealing with. Every single chart looks like either one of these. Every one that I point out, all accumulation, ready to go for another move. Inverse head and shoulders, ready to go for another move. Double bottoms of some sort or descending wedges, all ready to go for another move. Pretty much almost everything. SoFi, everything that's on this list we've been talking about is in the same predicament. We talked about DraftKings. You name it, they all doing it. I can't even, obviously AMC's in there as well. It's a little bit different. GME is different, but they're all doing the same thing. Any stock that's a decent stock. But yeah, that's just to give you an idea of what's going on here. So something to be mindful about, but understand the idea for accumulation. This is the Wyckoff accumulation patterns. This is one of them. You've probably seen the more popular one that goes out around there pretty often. It's over and over again. All right, just Wyckoff is important. And again, you use these and you put yourself in position to stack these up. Right, mastery stacking. If you're good at fibs, get ready to move to the next thing. Start getting good at the idea for Wyckoff, and then if you're good at Wyckoff, start getting good at the next thing, which is going to be your Elliott waves, and just keep building. Then you get good at volume price analysis, and you just pretty much narrow the gap of being able to take any types of losses, right? And you just continue to get better and better. All right, you just continue to stack up, or at least approach mastery in each one of those sectors, right? And then eventually you'll just be able to add them all together, and then from there, there's no reason why you can't master this game, right? We are conquerors. We were just made to be that way. So we gotta act like it, You can learn anything and get better at it every single day. Just 1% better. Just a little bit better every day. It stacks up on top of each other. Compound those gains. Compound yourself, right? You get 1% better, and watch your port get 1% better every day. Do that for enough days, change everything. All right. So good stuff, guys. Time is at 12:30. All right, so the kids got half days today. How that goes with the whole holiday stuff. So I got to get situated out here to get ready to go pick them up and start the holiday stuff. So that's my little rant for today. But, as usual, appreciate everybody once again for always stopping in, hanging out. Definitely want to wish everybody a great holiday throughout this entire deal coming up. And also we have a half day on Friday, but I'll be back here on Friday as usual. And we'll start doing it like that. TLT, it comes in here and there. I'm in TLT here and there, man. Let's see, 2026, the potential to get there. I did see that 20 sooner. Absolutely, looks good. I think I got everybody up here. All right, but TLT I do here and there, man. I know we've taken it a couple times between $80 and $100 on TLT. It's a decent deal, but good stuff, folks. But either way, folks, man, I appreciate everybody always stopping in, showing support and all that good stuff. I did, in case anybody wants to do this, let me go in, add this. I know we talked about it the other day. We do a little something if anybody wants to jump in on the Discord stuff. I did put it together a specific one for the YouTube folks because we're always here. Hold on a second, I'll pop that in here in just a minute. It's all good either way, but I'd love to have you one way or another. Bear with me 1 second. Make sure I put that in the chat in case anybody wants to check that out. I'm going to keep that open for just a short period of time because it is a holiday type of thing. Check that out. If you guys are interested in jumping in, we'd love to have you. Some good people up in there. We do some good things, man. Put it that way. All right. Other than that, folks, check that out if you like. I'm going to get ready to run to the next thing. Kids got half days, so you know how that goes. And hopefully you guys enjoy the holiday coming up, all right? Let's say peace to everybody up in the stream. What we got here? Once again, top. Braveheart, Drift, Geeko, Positive Insights, F-Dub, John. Appreciate you guys. Bang, B4 Dreams, Manny, Oaks Way, Craig. All right, Steve, Lou Washington. Appreciate all you guys always, man. All right, my man Paul, he already left for the day, but appreciate him. All right, Sire, Annie, always appreciate you definitely coming in. Bill the Greek, Craig Murray, Maize and Blue, Drillman. All right, who else? Junior Correa, first time seeing your name. All right, appreciate you. Definitely looking forward to have you coming back. Hope you subscribe and join us, man. We're here every day. All right, man, Pablo, you already know, man. All right, Oaks Way, Iron Man. Everybody, man, I appreciate all you guys. Hit the like, subscribe if you are new to the channel. We'd love to see you going forward. Again, you guys give me energy to keep on coming back here. Hopefully, I'm providing some form of value, some form of something, or at least, at very least, some entertainment. All right. Do appreciate everybody. Once again, you guys have a great holiday, and we'll catch you guys on Friday. We have a quick day on Friday. It's not gonna be much to really go through, but we'll take a look at it anyway. Say what's up. All right, everybody, enjoy the weekend, folks. You guys take care. Peace, y'all.